Hello everyone.
Hello.
Today we're going over our top 20 games of all time. This video specifically will be numbers 20 to 11. Our taste in board gaming is fairly different, so we'll be doing two separate lists.
Yeah, like last year.
Like last year, but in the same video this time. I know for me personally, since last year, my tastes have changed quite a bit, so there'll be a lot of changes compared to last year's list. And I haven't looked at Gwladys's yet, so I'm excited to see what changes are in hers as well.
For number 20, that was very, very hard because there was so many I wanted to put, but I was limited with 20, unfortunately. So I put Patchwork. Yeah. I don't know why you're shocked. I really like Patchwork. Patchwork is wonderful. Yes, it's a two-player game. It's very strategic. I love polyominoes.
This is just another blatant attempt to show off your homemade patchwork.
No! See, I didn't bring it this time. But you like that game too, right?
My number 20 is Challenges.
Oh, so low!
It's a game that came out last year or earlier this year, I think.
Last year.
It's a simple deck builder. Think like almost party game, but not quite. The great thing about it is it goes up to a higher player count, up to 8 players. And the gameplay doesn't change too much. You can play it at 2, you can play it at 8, but it's still basically the same game. Just some small strategic differences. What I like about it is it's quite simple. It's an easy game to explain to your friends or your gaming group. It's simple enough that you can tell them you can just focus on one colour and you'll do reasonably well. And there's a lot of luck in it. The order that your cards come out of your deck is completely random. You have very little control over it. Only certain cards can control that. And that's what makes it so engaging, is the fact that in basically any matchup, you can win just based on card order. So it means you're never really out of the game. That's a plus and a minus. It can be annoying when you have a great deck and you still continually lose, but it makes it a great selling point to newer players, the fact that they can still do well in their first game.
My number 19 might shock you. I don't know. It is Camel Up. So I bought that for Sam's birthday. And the only thing I knew was there was a camel race. So I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm not gonna like that game because I don't like races at all. It's true. That was my thinking. And then I read the rules and I was like, oh, it's all about betting actually. And that was love at first sight. We've played already 3 times in only a week or so, I think, that we've had it. And I love it so much. It's so chaotic. For someone that doesn't actually like luck most of the time, except a few games, this game is fantastic. It's just so funny. You're never out of the game, a bit like Challenger, I feel like, because you can bet on some camel that out of nowhere is gonna come first, even though no one believed in him, and you're like, go blue, go blue. Oh, so great. I love it. Wonderful game.
Number 19 on my list is 5 Tribes.
Oh!
How would I describe 5 Tribes to someone that hasn't played it before? It's basically like a series of really long mathematical equations in a colourful board game. Each turn you're presented with a lot of different options. You have to take a handful of meeples off the board and place them onto another spot on the board, and that triggers actions. So you score differently based on the action where you place the meeples, but you also drop meeples off along the way, so you have to worry about which actions you're leaving open in future turns to your opponents. And basically everything you can do is going to score you some points, but it's just a matter of how many points you get and how to maximize that. What I love most about the game is in 2 players, specifically. When you're bidding for turn order, you can give yourself multiple turns in a row, so maybe the first action of your first turn is not amazing, but it's setting up that beautiful action for your second turn. Things like that enhance the game a lot. There's a small problem of analysis paralysis. Because there are so many decisions you can make, it can make playing time quite long. That can be really annoying if you're playing with slow players.
So my number 18 is a game that was meant to be in my top 20 last year, and I forgot about it. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's Calico. So yes, it deserves to be in the top. I can't believe I forgot to put it in the top last year. Anyway, this game is a tile placement game. It's very like brain burny, you know. You're staring at your board and you're like, oh, I really messed up. So I love this game so much. It's very mean, I think, in my opinion. It looks so relaxing. You're quilting your little quilt, obviously. You're attracting cats because they find your quilt wonderful. You're sewing little buttons on it. It looks relaxing, but it's so mean. You see that person that needs exactly this symbol with this color, and it's on your turn, you take it. So, and one thing that I discovered actually recently is that you can play the solo version of it on the website. So I'll link it in the description. It's like Cascadia. I think it's the same publisher. They have this official solo version online, so you can play it, which is cool, I think. You don't have to set it up and whatever. So, yeah.
My number 18 is Glow.
Oh.
Why do you make that same reaction for every number?
I'm just so shocked.
Out of all the games in my list, Glow is by far the least balanced game.
Yes.
Seems a bit weird to start off with, but why it makes it onto the list is it's just fun to play. Something I think a lot of games miss. So in Glow, you control one adventurer. You're traveling along a board across 8 different days, and each day you'll pick up a different companion. So there's an engine building aspect. Each companion you get will enhance your scores, will enhance your dice rolls throughout the game. So by the last day, you're rolling some dice and you're getting a lot of points at a time. You also have to make decisions. Sometimes there's a companion that fits your build really well, but they don't have that many dice on them, so if you take them, you're going to score very little this round. A huge selling point of the game is how beautiful it is. It's got a very black and white, dark sort of theme, which I like. I don't see it a ton in games. It's just very unique in that way. It doesn't take too long to play. I find it's not that difficult to explain to new players. Another mechanic I really love in it is that you're rolling a lot of dice, so it can be frustrating if you don't roll what you want, but you can always re-roll dice, and you can choose to re-roll dice by moving your score backwards. I think that's a brilliant mechanic. You have to decide if you want to keep this dice roll, or if you want to be a little bit greedy and roll for something a bit better, but each time you do it's going to cost you points. Even though you're dice rolling for most of the game, it feels good knowing that you have the option to change your dice around. And I'm looking forward to the expansion to hopefully fix up some of the balance issues.
Number 17 is a party game. It's just one. Oh no! It's a very, very simple game. So it's co-op. I think you still like it though, so that's good. That means that it's a good co-op game, right? And basically you are making one person guess a word on a card. So they don't see the word, obviously. They just pick a number and they choose the word. And the others have to give a clue on the easel. And the trick is that if 2 clues are the same, then they get cancelled. So you want to be a bit vague, but not too much. So sometimes you're like, oh, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna say the most obvious word, and sometimes it works. It's very fun. And sometimes you try to be very, very like cheeky and smart, and the person doesn't understand what you try to convey. So it's very fun.
Every time.
Yeah, only you. So yeah, that's why I think it's a good party game. Just explain it in one sentence and you're good to go.
My number 17 is Kingdomino. This is a quick filler type of game. Very simple rules. Each turn you draft a tile and you place it somewhere in your kingdom. The better the tile is, normally the higher number it will have, which means you'll go later in the future turn. The game is fun at 4 players. It's always fun multiplying things together. You want to collect as many crowns as possible and then as many tiles of the same colour region. And it's fun seeing that region grow and grow. The game really shines at 2 players though when you have a bigger kingdom, 7x7 grid. Then you really have to think about where you place the tiles. It's very easy to block yourself out. But it's just quick and fun. It's a game you can pull out and be done in 20 minutes or less. We have some expansions for the game. Kingdomino Origins is a standalone game. I think I still prefer the original, but it's okay. Queendomino is also a standalone game, but I think you can give it a miss. I don't feel it adds too much to the original Kingdomino in terms of enjoyment.
Number 16 should have made top 20 last year too. So this is my year to recover from my mistakes, you know. This is Abyss.
Wow.
I can't believe it wasn't in the top last year. I adore Abyss, you know. And each time we play, it's not very often, but each time we get to play it, I enjoy it like thoroughly. I'm like, oh, this is cool, and this is cool, and this is cool. Everything is fun. So it's not really a tableau builder. I think it could be, kinda. Like it's a light tableau builder, I would say. You are collecting cards, and then you buy, with these cards you are buying other cards, which are the lords, and these lords have powers if they have a key or whatever. I think there's so many ways to score. I mean, it's a Bruno Catala game, so that's why I think there's so many ways to score, and it's beautiful. I I think this game is gorgeous. I think that's when we've played it the first time a long time ago. I thought, oh, games can be actually beautiful. Because at the time I just used stuff like, I don't know, jungle speed and whatnot, and I mean, okay, it doesn't look bad, but it's not crazy either. and like Abyss, they actually, like, you can see they paid an artist to do that, and it's wonderful. So yeah, Abyss for me.
I will add, I think the Kraken expansion has some very good mechanics, but it also has the single dumbest mechanic I've seen added in an expansion ever.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that, Abyss Kraken would be top tier, and it would have made my list.
I think with the 2 expansions, it's easily 10 out of 10 for me. I adore Kraken. I don't like the loot deck, which is the mechanic that he hates. I don't like it, but it's fine. I don't have to take the loot deck, so I just avoid it. It's fine. I love the dirty money mechanic from Kraken. It's great. And I love Leviathan, the other expansion, because there's a tracker where you have monsters and you get rewards in the base game, but it's a bit like, you just can avoid it if you don't want to take it. Here, there's more like a risk. If you avoid it, you could potentially lose points or lose lords or stuff. So it adds a little, little worry in you. Like, you're like, oh, I really want to get that card, but at the same time, I don't want to lose points. So what do I do?
My number 16 is Sagrada. Pretty big fall from last year. I think it might have been in my top 5, but I'll double check that. Not that there's anything wrong about the game. It's still my 16th top game of all time. Just found I prefer some other games ahead of it now. In Sagrada, you draft dice and you place them on your window. Your window will have some restrictions, such as it has to have a certain number on it or has to have a certain color on it. And then there's always the rule that you can't place the same color next to each other and you can't place the same number next to each other. There's always a little puzzle of which dice should I take now. You have to look around to see the other players' boards, which dice are they likely to take. I would say it plays fairly quickly, although there are always times when someone thinks a bit too hard about their turn.
Yeah.
But that's the problem that most games have. But it's beautiful seeing all the different coloured dice on your window, and it's just fun to play. It makes you think a little bit, but I still find it quite relaxing.
Number 15 is a game that made it last year. So there's something, I didn't forget about it. It's Res Arcana. So it went down. I feel a bit bad about it because I actually really like it. But like Sam said for Sagrada, it's still pretty good, top 15, right? So it's a tableau builder. You draft cards, you play them, you produce resources, you spend stuff to build more cards and stuff. And it's a race. So I just said before that I don't like races. But this one is fine because it's not a physical race. It's more like, it's not a race with a truck or whatever. It's more like I want to finish before the others to reach a certain amount of points. And yeah, it's all about optimization. You want to obviously score points, but with the least amount of actions possible, because it means that you'll have finished before the others. It's very good. I think it works at all player counts, personally. We've played from 2 to 5, I'm pretty sure. And I think the expansion that we own, Lux and Tenebrae, is very good, and it adds a lot, even though it doesn't add many cards. But I think they add an interesting mechanic. The demons and also the scrolls, which are another thing they added, is very good. It adds more actions to the game. So more options, and it's very fun.
My number 15 is Terraforming Mars. Gwladys just died inside. In Terraforming Mars, you're doing exactly what the title of the game says. You're terraforming Mars.
What?
Along with all the other players in the game, you're helping to add ocean tiles, raise the oxygen level, raise the temperature so humans can inhabit it. But it's by no means a co-op game. You get victory points for doing all these things, and that also increases your income. So as the game progresses, your income gets higher and higher, allowing you to do more things each round. At the start of each round, you draft cards which help you to achieve these goals. I will say a very interesting thing about the game is that you have to pay to keep the cards that you draft, which makes it a very interesting puzzle, because there are often times where you want to keep all 4 of the cards that you draft, but it's very expensive to do so, and it will stop you playing those cards in early rounds. So you have to be very careful about which cards you keep and which cards you discard. It does feel a bit out of place at 15. If you look at, once you see my whole top 10 video, you probably think, why is this not in top 10? But I think it has some downsides to some other games that appear higher up in my list. One of the downsides is the playtime. It does take a very long time compared to a lot of other tableau builders. I think what I like most about the game is the asymmetric powers. The corporations aren't especially balanced, but I like the fact that you can go in different directions to other people. You can have someone that's just working on building greeneries and raising the oxygen level. You can have someone that's working on getting lots of titanium and playing tons of space cards. It feels like there are a lot of different directions you can go and be rewarded for all of them.
Number 14 is a co-op game. Which one is it? It's Burgle Bros.
Burgle Bros.
I can't say it. To me, it's Burgle Bros, but you know. A wonderful co-op game where you are people that are robbing a bank or an office, it doesn't matter what it's called, but you're robbing something. And each player has a different power, and which is a different ability. Like you have the hacker and stuff like that. And you are trying to find the safes, all of them. You have to crack them, and then you have to escape. And the thing is, you know where the guard on each floor is patrolling, so you try to avoid that. Otherwise, you lose, I think it's called like stealth tokens, which is basically your HP. And yeah, it's very fun. And it, especially, I think, on BGA. We've never played in real life, but on BGA, it's very fun to actually see the guard move, and you're like, ah! So I love this so much. It's very fun. But I think as a lot of co-op games, the downside is that it's the kind of game where if someone is knows what you meant to do, they can tell you, oh, you should do that, and you should do that, and you should do that, as opposed to like closed information kind of co-op games. So that's a downside, but I think in our group we don't really have that problem, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, Burgle Bros.
My number 14 is also a co-op game.
No way.
It's Just One.
Oh, what? It made your top?
Yeah.
Crap, what? Yeah. It made it higher than me. Who would have thought?
Let's explain the game. But it is just really simple to explain. I like that more and more as I've discovered more board games, like simplicity in design.
I agree.
That doesn't really take away from the fun of it, though. When you have 6 or 7 people giving a clue to one other person, there are bound to be matches, so you have to really think outside the box if you want to give a clue that's not going to match with someone else.
And then there's only one clue left.
Yeah, and it can lead to situations where this person has 6 or 7 people giving them a clue and there's only one viable word that they have to guess from. It's really nice to just pull out and be able to stop at any point. You can play it for 1 round, you can play it for 5 rounds. It's so easy to set up, and it's just the perfect game while you're like waiting for another group to finish, or you're waiting for people to arrive before you get dinner. It's just something very easy to pull out and play and then stop at any time.
Oh, I just checked and I got so happy seeing the name of that game. So number 13 is a highly luck-based game. It's Can't Stop.
What?
I can't believe it made myself, but I love it so much. It's so funny. You have dice. I forget, 6? 4. And you roll them on your turn. And based on the combination of dice, you have to climb a mountain. And there's numbers from 2 to 12, which are the dice combinations. And when you pick a combination, you put a marker, meaning that you have a hiker that climbed one step higher on that combination. So obviously it's harder to climb on 7 because it's the most common number, and it's
easier to climb on 7, but you have to make more steps.
Yes, there's more steps, and there's only 3 steps for 2 and 12 because it's technically harder to roll them. So yeah, the person that wins is the person that had 3 hikers that reached the top of a track, And it's super chaotic, it's super fun. I love to see the little hikers go up, 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 and that person got greedy and then just bam, go back down. Oh my god, this is like, this makes my heart like beat so fast. I'm like, yes. I love it so much.
It does lead to some funny moments where like you have 2 hikers already at the top, you only need 1 more to win, and your opponent just pulls out the most ridiculous rolls, like 3 12s in a row, and they take the game away from you.
No, the first 12 is like, oh, and then the second 12, oh. No, surely you stop now. Nah.
Still still mad about it. My number 13 is Burgle Bros.
Burgle Bros, let's go. So far, the 2 co-op games on your list have been higher than mine. Just saying.
Sometimes working together can be fun, but really only if you're robbing a bank. I don't know, I'm just generally not a fan of cooperative games. That's just my taste, but this one I like a lot. You have to work together to reveal tiles to find the safe on every single floor of the map. Even if you find the safe early, you have to reveal other tiles in the same row and column in order to crack the safe. That's a fun mechanic, so you can't solve the game too quickly. You have to explore a lot of the map. But it's just really fun exploring tiles, and most of them are bad. Sometimes you have time to just peek into the next room and go, oh yeah, there's an alarm there, I'll just wait a bit. Sometimes you have no time, there's a guard on your tail, you know he's going to walk through, and you just have to say, stuff it, I need to walk into this next room. Oh, it's an alarm, oh no. So it's exciting when you reveal tiles, but it's also exciting when the guard moves at the end of your turn. Because sometimes you know where he's going to go, but then when you have to flip the next patrol card, you don't really know where he's headed. So you can catch people by surprise. Like all of a sudden, he's headed towards me, but I don't have a turn for the next 3 turns, I'm dead.
So you're asking your friends to sacrifice themselves for you.
Yeah. Like, Gwladys, please cause an alarm over the other side of the board. I need the guard out of here.
Now you're on your own.
I think this is the last cooperative game that made my list, so congratulations, Burgle Bros. You did it. You're the best co-op game ever, of all time.
My number 12 is a co-op game again. So, yes, this game I find extremely fun. It's another word game. It's called Perfect Words. Yeah, you good? So this game I think was released last year. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, it's a word association game mixed with crosswords. So basically on your turn, you are picking a card and putting it in front of an arrow, like, crosswords. And then it's going to make several words next to each other, like, I don't know, big animal, fire. And at the end of the 10 lines of word associations, everyone has to write on a paper what they think word 1 is, word 2, etc., etc. So for this example, someone would say maybe dragon. And then someone else will say, I don't know, I have no idea. Phoenix.
What are you saying if it's not dragon?
Phoenix maybe. And if there's matches, then you score points. Usually our friends and us, we don't think alike at all. So we're like, yes, this arrows 5, easy, everyone got this. And then you see no one matched and you're like, what? What were you thinking? It's so obvious.
We play with some very sheltered people.
Yes. Even like, I remember dinosaur movie or something like that. Everyone put Jurassic Park, and now one friend put, I forget, but not that. I forget what it was. Oh, T-Rex.
The sort of catch is you have to select from a list of predetermined words. So there are very few easy matches where it's like, well, I can put this and this together and everyone will think the same thing. It can get very vague. My number 12 game is Almadi. I have a soft spot for this game. I still feel it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. It's a very simple game. All you do on your turn is draft a single tile and place it on the row that you drafted it from on your board. So you might think on paper, well, there's very few decisions to make. You just have to pick 1 tile out of 8 and then that's your turn. But there are special powers on the outside of all your tiles, on the 4 edges. Some of them are simply arrows which point to another power on another tile. So you want to have a good combination of arrows and then other powers. So you might have an arrow pointing to a gem and you get a gem. But the thing that makes it really interesting is that there's a flying carpet as one of the powers. And if you point to a flying carpet, you get to move any of your tiles around the board and you can put it in any position you want.
It's a genie.
Genie, flying carpet. And you can oftentimes have an arrow pointing to a genie and then move a tile to a different genie. So you can trigger this combination many times. And if you're really good, you can make it so that you have arrows pointing to different powers every time you move a tile. And just being able to collect all these different resources as part of your turn is really clever. On top of that, all the different tiles have different set collection points. So you can go all in on like oases, or you can go for more palaces, or you can go for more caravans to carry all these goods that you're collecting. It's a brilliant game. I think it's very simple in terms of rules, but leaves you with a lot of decisions to think about on your turn. And after 16 turns is over, it doesn't take that long either.
So my number 11 and the last one for this list, for part 1, is Cascadia. So at first it was like one of my most played solo games, because it's so easy to play on the website. You don't have to set it up and whatever. But when we bought it, because we've played it 2 players on Tabletop Simulator a long time ago, and we're like, it's just point salad, it's just a bit meh, right? So it's not mean enough in multiplayer. I mean, that was my thinking at the time, which is basically a tile placement game. You just take a tile, place it in your, Earth, planet, whatever it is, biome, and then they all represent different habitats, and you can place animals on these habitats. And if they can live there, then they're going to score points based on specific cards you drew. So, yeah, it wasn't mean enough to my liking in multiplayers. And we bought it recently, and we've been playing quite a lot, I think, because one of our friends actually likes it a lot. And actually now I really, really like it. I think it's just super relaxing. You don't always need a mean game, multiplayers. I'm a bit mean, I think, in multiplayers, but
apparently.
Yeah. Oh, and it's beautiful. I forgot to say, it's wonderful. The animal tiles, I don't know if they're like printed or something. It's not a sticker, and there's little animal symbols on it. Very good. I love that.
It is fun. I like that you have to think about the animal that you're taking as well as the habitat that you're taking, because you score points for both, and it's not always clear which combination is the best for you.
Yeah.
Because you also get extra points for having majorities of certain regions. So that's something that you can focus on, or you can focus on maximizing all your animal points. My number 11 is actually going to shock you. I think you would never be able to guess this in 10 years.
Me or the camera?
No, you.
Okay.
My number 11 is Stella Dixit Universe.
No way! That's not a co-op game. what am I saying? It's like, oh, that's a co-op game.
It's not a co-op game, but it feels like it's like a party game. But it's one that you don't take too seriously, and you just have a good time with your friends. I like it a lot. I just like the concept in general of matching these random images to specific words. It's a fun concept. And Stella Dixit Universe does it really well. Everyone's given the same word, and you have to tick off a number of pictures that you see that will match that word. But if you pick too many words, you get punished. If you don't pick enough words, you won't get as many matches with other people. And just seeing how different players think about different words is really fascinating, honestly.
The damn French.
I can never match with French people, but Italians are on the same wavelength as.
There's this couple in front of a volcano, and there was the word mafia, and he picked that because this guy looks like he's from the mafia. And the Italian guy matched with him, and the guy was like, I know because I'm Italian.
You're missing the fact that the guy was wearing a suit.
Yeah, well, you can wear a suit anywhere. Like, you go to the wedding, you wear a suit.
Yeah, but it's these sort of things that make the game very, very fun. You have these sort of arguments after every single card that's picked.
It's very good that it's played with Dixit cards. I mean, it's called Dixit Universe. So it means that you can merge the deck with other Dixit games. And it means that you have plenty of replayability because after a while on BGA, you always have the same cards. So you're like, oh, I really needed that card for this word. But no, if you play with all the other boxes, there's plenty of combinations possible.
All right, that was our list from 20 to 11. Stay tuned next week for our 10 to 1.
Ooh, happy holidays!